You're listening to Good Morning Gwinnett, a division of Noise Media Network, hosted by Audrey Bell Kearney, sharing stories about people and places around beautiful Gwinnett County and beyond. Monday through Thursday at 10 a.m. Southern living at its best.
Good morning, all my Gwinnetians out there in Gwinnett land and all of you around the world listening to the sound of my voice. It is a beautiful day here in Gwinnett County, 78 degrees, going up to a high of 90, so it's going to be hot again. Hey, it's the summertime. That's to be expected, but check this out. In a few days, in a few weeks, it'll be fall. But fall in Georgia is still like the summertime. Anyway, it's going to rain later, so enjoy the morning while you can, because this afternoon there's a 50% chance of rain, so you know it's going to rain. So you know what today is, y'all. It's Thursday, and I got a great guest. But before I do the guest, you know I have to go give you my horoscopes brought to you by the astrologer Micah Thigh. But before I do that, I want to remind you, the Pod Chicks Incubator, the Pod Chicks Hatchery, the incubator for women who want to launch a podcast starts September the 20th. Be sure to go over to podchicks.com, that's PODCHIX.com, to register and enroll. Only 50 people, because I need to be able to give you my undivided attention for 10 weeks. That's a long time, but it's a lot of stuff we got to pack in a short period of time. But I promise you, once you get out of that incubator, you will know everything you need to know about launching your podcast, how to distribute your podcast on all of these platforms that they are continuously adding. I'm in the mix, y'all. I'm there every day living in the podcast world, so there's great things coming out. I got to tell y'all this, and I got this yesterday. Spotify is trying to give Apple a run for their money when it comes to this whole podcasting thing. So just so you know, there's like the number one competition for Apple, because Apple Podcast started it all. Remember, everybody had a what you call that little thing, iPod, right? Everybody had an iPod. So Apple started this whole thing, but Spotify said, you know what, we want in and we want to be top dog. So Spotify is launching a video podcast platform. Oh my God, I'm so excited about that. Apple has videos. A lot of people don't know that. Apple has videos on their podcast, but a lot of people don't do videos. So, you know, this industry is growing. A lot of people kind of still think of it as just entertainment. From the business perspective, you need to be podcasting. So listen, ladies, if you have a business, this is your opportunity for me to hold your hands for 10 weeks. And you get to stay the part of the community for another 6 months. But for 10 weeks, I'm going to hold your hand and walk you through this process of starting this podcast. It is important that if you are in business that you start doing this. Here's why. Because a lot of the searches that are going to be done by voice. Voice is going to rule. And right now, everybody think Alexa is cute and it's just for ordering pizza. And here's the thing. If you own a pizza parlor, that's good for you. So now you're going to learn how to take all this technology and roll it into one thing and help you grow your business. So anyway, go to podchicks.com. That's PODCHIX.com. Let's get on to our show, because I have a great guest today. She is artistic. Her work is so beautiful. And I saw her on Alignable, and we were talking off air about Alignable. And if you don't know about Alignable, go to alignable.com. But I just, it is a networking site for real. Like, I used to think LinkedIn was like a networking site, but Alignable really is. And so I was over there. I get the newsletter, and I was over there and I saw her work. I think she showed up in the newsletter. And I was like, man, her work is beautiful. Anytime I see people that say energy and chakra healings and affirmation, those are my people. Podcasters too, you're my people too, but those are my people as well. All right, so let's get on with our horoscopes brought to you by noted astrologer Micah Thigh. For today, August the 13th is Thursday. Happy belated birthday to my cousin Taji. I forgot, girl. I forgot. It's your birthday. She celebrated, I think, on Monday or Tuesday. I forgot, but happy birthday. If you know someone who's celebrating a birthday or anniversary or graduation or new birth, send me their names. Audrey at Good Morning Gwinnett. Send me the date, and I will be happy to shout them out. All right, let's roll. We're going to kick it off like we always do, and that is with Aries. Aries, involvement in fitness clubs will be conducive to energizing romantic connections. Okay, Aries, it's a good time to make changes to your living quarters that will give you more space. Health problems may prevail if you don't take care of them immediately. That means, Aries, do not sit on them. Take care of that stuff immediately. Okay? All right. Taurus, face any emotional problems head on to avoid situations getting out of hand. Your involvement with children will be most rewarding. However, you must not neglect your family. Don't neglect the family, Taurus. The fam is important. Don't do it. Gemini, you can expect opposition from family as well as colleagues. Make sure to arrange in advance to spend quality time together. You may have a rather hectic day due to events that children are involved in. All right, I see this is going to be about the children here today. Like, I done read 3. So listen, your kid's going to drive you crazy today, Gemini. That's not what it said. I'm just putting my own spin on Michael's prediction. Cancer. Changes regarding your image will bring you greater confidence. Relationships will be emotional today. You should visit a friend or relative who hasn't been feeling up to par. Listen, Cancer, go check on that friend or relative. We're living in some crazy times right now. Listen, if you go there, talk to them outside the window. Don't go in the house. They may have the virus. They may have the corona. Just say, hey, I'm just checking on you. Do I need to call somebody? From your car. I'm just saying. Y'all know I'm silly like that. Leo, you may find that someone you live with may be irritable. Your best bet is to leave them alone. Just leave them alone. Your high energy and discipline will enable you to complete any seemingly insurmountable task. Concentrate on work. Listen, whoever's in your house right now irritable, just leave them alone, Leo. That too shall pass, and they don't need you to interfere with it. Just let them work through it. Let them work through it, okay? Virgo, be aware that you might be at fault as well. Abrupt changes in your home may send you for a loop. Avoid getting too close to coworkers or employers. I don't know what that means. That could mean, listen, if it's some kind of romantic thing trying to go on, Virgo, don't do it. Y'all know I told them stories about working with the one you love. Oh, not a good thing. Especially when y'all working at the same job. You hear what I'm saying? Don't do it. All right, listen, I'm going to a song. I'll be right back after this song to give you more of the horoscopes brought to you by noted astrologer Micah Thyssen. And listening to the Good Morning Gwinnett Show. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Welcome back, welcome back. Y'all know that's one of my favorite songs. I got my favorite songs. I heard a song. I played a song yesterday. I don't even think I've ever played before. And I was like, oh, I don't ever remember hearing that song. It's been in my playlist forever. All right, let's pick it up with Libra. Discuss your objectives with peers or lovers. Avoid functions that will bring you in contact with those you find difficult to get along with. Stay out of their way. Your domestic scene could continue to be in an uproar today. All right, listen here. You got to go home and live with them people. You want to fix that part. The rest of them folks, yeah, stay away from them. You got to go home to the other people, though, y'all. Scorpio, do the necessary chores and then do things that please you. Be careful not to hurt the ones you love. You'll be looking for creative ways to make a little extra cash. That's why I'm excited about my guest today. She is super duper creative. And so she may even tell y'all a few things about making some extra cash. So Scorpio, you need to be listening today. It's for you. You know, you go to church and the pastor give the message. And he's like, oh my God, pastor was talking to me today. Yeah, he was talking to all of us, but you heard it. You heard something that you needed to hear. Same thing for you, Scorpio. You want to be creative today, make a little extra money? You better stay listening to this show because I got her. She's coming on and she is creative. Sagittarius, make sure that you have all the pertinent information before you enter appraisals or making any moves. Don't let your anger consume you and don't allow important matters to go unattended. Do not get into heated discussions. Yeah. Don't let important matters go unattended. Handle your business. That's what they're saying today, Sagittarius. Handle your business. Capricorn, this is a great day for a trip. You may blow situations out of proportion when dealing with the one you love. Generosity will put you in the poorhouse. Ooh, don't I know it? Listen here. I'm going to skip everything. Go right to that part. Listen, Capricorn. I know you want to be nice to everybody, but too much generosity will put you in the poorhouse. You gotta have some discernment about some things. You know what I'm saying? Just think it through. Pray on it. That's what everybody say. I'm gonna pray on it and get back to you. Pray on it. Do what you gotta do. Aquarius, don't take offense at comments made by coworkers. Your passionate nature may make you jealous if your mate has been too busy to take care of your needs. Don't overspend to impress someone who interests you. Listen here. I understand why you want to overspend to impress that person you know that's interested in you. Here's the problem. You got a person at home. They just haven't been paying you too much of attention. So try to impress that person. I'll just let them know. Listen, you haven't been taking care of my needs. I'm starting to look outside. Let them know. Let me tell you what I do, right? I'll go somewhere. If I get a compliment from somebody, I'll come home and I tell my husband, I had action today. He be like, oh yeah? I be like, yeah. And so I do it just like that, like, yeah. He's like, oh, yes. Like, yeah, this guy was like, you cute. I let him know, listen, I still got it. Old girl still got it. And I just let him know. He don't say just laugh it out because he know I'm coming home. But I just want him to know that, hey, somebody thought I was cute today. I let him know. Hey. All right, my fellow fish Pisces. Praise will be yours if you have been pursuing your goals. I'm always pursuing a goal. I don't know about you, fish, but this fish here is always on some kind of goal mission, for real. Children may be difficult to handle. Don't lend or borrow. I won't be doing either. I don't know about you, but I won't be doing either. I'm on goals. Always. Goals is my mission. All right, listen, that's all the horoscopes I got for today. I'll be back again on Monday at 10 o'clock to bring you more of the horoscopes brought to you by Notary Astrologer Micah Thyssen. But now, let's get on to what I'm here for on Thursday, and that is to bring you a great guest. So my guest today is Miss Caylin White. They call her the marketing magician. She's going to show us how to work some magic into our business with marketing. Y'all know I love marketing. And one of the things I love about marketing is that it allows you to be creative. Now, here's the problem. If you're not a creative soul, then it could be tough for you. That's when you need to hire somebody like Caylin, who's very creative, who can help you. So, Caylin, welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
You're very welcome. So, I said earlier, I found you on Alignable. I think something came up in my email from Alignable, and it had welcome Caylin or say hi to Caylin or Caylin just got a ring. It was something, and I said, oh, let me check it out. And so I went over there and I started seeing your artwork, and I was like, oh. And then I saw the word affirmations because, you know, I love affirmations. And as a matter of fact, every Monday morning, Georgette, who booked you for the show, she gets on the show and she do the word of the week because she is I knew she probably would love you, so she's probably listening because I know that this is her stuff. Like, she got me into all of this stuff. She got me into affirmations and law of attraction. She got me into this years ago. She sent me The Secret, the DVD. That's when we were watching DVD, y'all. She sent me the DVD for The Secret, and I fell in love with it. Yeah, that was one of the things that kind of catapulted me into this space. And I live in this space. Like, I go to bed at night and I watch Impact Theory. I don't know if you ever watched that, but the guy who, I love Impact Theory. Like, I love Tom Bilyeu. I love his wife Lisa. I love what they've done, and I love that they took their passion. They did something different, and they took all the money they made, which is a lot, and they put it into their passion. But they started out trying to figure out how to do the passion. So, speaking of passion, were you born an artist, or did you learn how to be an artist?
Oh, that's such a great question. Passion, I think, is my middle name. I really live and breathe it. And thanks again for having me. I was just inspired by this whole talk this morning listening to you, because I think that that's a big part about art, is being inspired. I have been drawing since probably 10. My mom and dad both are artists. My mom was an art teacher for 30-some years. My dad, he dabbled. He did some drawings for Hallmark cards, and he was a teacher for a while. I taught art to youths of all ages for about 8 years, and really it's just the creativity just kind of pours out of you. You're inspired. Without that inspiration, I don't know if passion would be there. So I'm inspired by literally, everyone and everything around me. I kind of see the world in like colors. It's like a rainbow, world as an artist. And so I think one of the fun things about being an artist is finding creative ways to do things in everyday life, right? Like even in, your day-to-day schedule and all of that. But started when I was young. And then it just sort of evolves. It's kind of like when you go on an adventure, like Lord of the Rings, you're just going out and like whatever happens, happens. And of course, then the web and the internet and everything kind of takes over. And so you end up putting your art online, and then you end up making connections just like you and I today. And all of a sudden you're in knee deep by doing podcasts and webcasts and all of these fun things. But it's all for a good reason. And I think that that's a big part of being an artist is like, you're just trying to help people, connect with people. I'm like you and Georgette. I love her mindset of, having these affirmations. I think even now it's so important. Self-care and keeping the mind right is huge. Your horoscopes today, I'm Taurus. And
I was going to ask you that. I was going to say, what are you?
I'm a big old Taurus, and today that family's everything, and to face things head on. And man, did I today! I needed someone to tell me that today. So I appreciate you and your horoscopes. So yeah, that's a little bit of the journey. There's lots of bumps and ups and downs in between, but art has been my constant. It really, really has. It's been a way for me to stay creative and to stay. Just to be an outlet for myself and for others. And there is a real thing when it comes to art therapy, for sure. So,
So now let me ask you this. When did you transition from being an art teacher to being a full-time artist and marketer? Because I know you kind of married the two together, and I'm interested to find out how you did that, because I see a lot of your stuff is custom. So how did you do that?
Yeah, so it has to do with the nerdy side of me. I really love nerding out about software technology. I went from, being an art teacher and being hands-on, getting my hands messy and dirty every day, and then learning sort of that virtual world. I am a big old geek, and I like video games, and I actually kind of started playing video games when I was real young, and then that brought me into computers and iPads and all of those things, and I just started learning software. So I've actually been doing digital marketing for SaaS companies and small to medium-sized businesses for 12 years because I just liked learning the world of products and services that can help you grow. And so I just married the two when I thought, well, no one else is going to market this art for me. I am, one of the biggest struggles as an artist, I would say the biggest struggle is to get your art out there. I mean, you've got thousands of artists, and then you've got the Picassos that are dead, and you don't want to wait till you're dead to be famous.
Right.
So really trying to get your word out there, I think is the hardest part. And it's so funny with my art formation. So I create something called art formations. They are artistic affirmations. Basically, it is a small card that has a affirmation on it. Maybe today it's, I am full of abundance, or I'm full of wealth, or I'm full of love, whatever you need to hear for that day. You kind of draw a card, you kind of put it up on the mirror, and there's an art piece to it that, for the visual learner. And so I started drawing these when I myself was kind of down. It must have been, a good maybe 10 years ago. And it was just, I'm just going to pour all of my emotions into my art. I had no idea I'd be selling them today. I had no idea I'd be inspiring others with self-care or talking to you about something like this. I just drew it for me. I drew it to make myself feel better.
Right.
And then from there, it was like, people started to say, these are kind of cool. Can you make me one? And then, the person would come, can you make my daughter one? Can you make my granddaughter one? And then it was like, okay, well, let's just put them on the website and see, what we can do. And then I have a beautiful friend, a local artist and wonderful person that started K Squared Boutique. She's got in North Cobb and Marietta, they've got 2 stores of all handmade, one-of-a-kind artwork, and they only partner with local people that are trying to inspire and help, and they work with a lot of charities. And she said, I really like your art. I'd like you to be a part of the boutique. And so I sell my artwork through them. And, she always comes back to me and tells me the story of who bought my art, which is my favorite part. She will say, she'll say, I had such a wonderful, grandma come in and say, I'm buying this for my 13-year-old girl, granddaughter that wants to be inspired. And so like that to me it's like, that's all. Well, that's why I do it all. I don't care about the money. I don't care about anything there. I love that it's helping people. So with the marriage of my nerdiness and my geekiness of software, I just started, obviously working for other people, and you don't really start out as an artist just making a ton of money. So you work and you do your side hustle and you do what you have to do to survive. And so I, been marketing for so long. I thought, why don't I apply all of my training, all of my skills, all of my certifications that I'm taking to myself and actually see, what works best. Testing out this personalized way of marketing. I call it the human-centric approach, where it's basically not automated, it's not robotic, it's not salesy. I'm not talking about me. It's more, how can I help? I'm interested in you. I'm excited to connect with you as a person. That's kind of my favorite part. So I married the two as, art and marketing to help and educate and bring value to that person instead of, me. Obviously, it's not going to do anything for me other than help me with my own emotions day to day. I know what the affirmations have done for me. I got to tell you, I don't know if I'd be able to get through this year without something like that to lean on. It's almost like people have these things that they do, meditation, whatever it may be. If I don't wake up in the morning and start my day right with a hey Kay, you can do this kind of a vibe, man, it's easy to get down and out.
Oh, absolutely.
So
it's so funny. I was listening to you as you were saying that, and I'm thinking, so how do you, because here you sound a lot like me. I thought you were a Pisces, and I was like, okay, she sounds like a Pisces.
I'm married a Pisces now.
Oh, that's a match made in heaven. That is a perfect match, really.
It is.
Oh, good for you. Taurus and Pisces are good together.
I love Pisces.
Nice. When you think of, because I think for a small business owner, especially those of us who have service businesses and we help other people, when it's time for us to kind of flip it back and help ourselves, that's pretty tough. So how are you able to say, you know what? I'm going to take all, like you said, I decided I'm going to take all this stuff and I'm going to help myself, because that's really hard for me. Like, I could talk to people all day long about what they be doing, and then I can't go back and do the same. I'm not going to say can't. It's difficult for me to go back and give myself that same advice and take those same steps. How do you balance that?
Yes. Oh my gosh. It is, I would say, a daily minute by minute grind. There are days where I'm doing nothing but taking care of myself. Some days it's setting it aside. Some days it's recharging. And then there are days where I will have these bursts of creative energy. I think my big advice for those that are trying to market themselves, even in small, big, medium, wherever you are in your journey, is you have to break it down in super small, tiny goals. And then when that goal is done, you move on to the next. I am a big fan of the Pomodoro technique. It's a journal. Pomodoro is a journal where literally every day you start with just 5 things. Like if you got 5 things on your list to tackle that day and you get those 5 things done, that's like 5 stars. And, you know, there are days where you don't even get 1 done, and that's okay. But the goals are there. They're written down. You can refer back. If you don't hit those goals the next day, it goes on to the next page for tomorrow. And I oftentimes put way too much on my plate. Like I'll say, all right, well, I'm going to do this and this and this and this, and I want it done right now. And that's not how building a business is. It is literally years of going backwards and saying, oh, I like that. Oh, I don't like that. What was I thinking here? How can I expand there? And you are going to fail. That is the God's honest truth. You're going to fail. You're going to look back and be like, well, why didn't I do this? At this point, you're going to say, why didn't I track that? Why didn't I connect with that person? But if you can just stick to me, 5 a day, and okay, write a blog, or today I'm going to, connect with people like you. And it's these small goals that all of a sudden you'll wake up and you've got this huge website, this huge community, this huge passion and following, and all of a sudden you're so grateful that you had that daily kind of breakdown. And I got to tell you, there's a lot of times where, you are going to not get as much as you want done, and you are going to beat yourself up about it. And then there are days where you're just going to want to kind of give up, and you're going to say, look, why am I even doing this? Nobody's following this. Nobody cares. And you need to talk yourself out of that, like on the daily. That's your goal, is to say, what are you doing? Let's go, girl, get up. And I think that is the biggest thing that you can do for yourself and your business. And when you do have those wins, celebrate them. My gosh, there's so many times where I hit a goal and I'm like, oh, okay, what's next? And I'm like, whoa. Wait, Caylin, like, you did this. Like, clap yourself on the back, get up, dance, like you did it. And so I have a hard time kind of remembering to celebrate those small wins. My husband's really helping me with that and slowing down and chilling out. But take it slow. That's the advice I got you. Just take it slow, one little bit at a time, and you will eventually build an empire for sure.
It's so funny because, as you were saying about the to-do list, everybody that knows me know my to-do list is running over. And I've heard Jack Canfield say that. He was like, when he and Mark Victor Hansen were doing Chicken Soup for the Soul, they committed to doing 5 things a day. And that's how they were able to get their first $1 million for the book. Yep. And I was like, okay, I'm going to try that. But it's so funny. I write all these things down on my to-do list, and I look at the list, and it's totally overwhelming. I'm like, okay, for real? Then I kick the list to the side, and now I go do something that's probably totally not on the list at all. Because it's like, okay, that list is just staggering, and I just can't.
I think I know the problem because I do this myself. The things on your list are way too big. They're way too big. The things on your list need to be way smaller. Like if you can't do it within a 30-minute window, it's on a bigger list. I've got like 2 separate lists. I've got the big list where it's like, all right, I got to get this done in a month or like 3 months. Then I got a medium list that's like, all right, I got to get this done in a week. And then I have a small list that's like, if you don't do this today, you're not going to get that one done in a month. So it's like, if you can just like put your list way, way, way down, I've learned to sort of lower my expectations of myself a little bit. And you'll just knock it out of the park because you say, oh, well, I got that done. Check that off. And I think everybody knows how good that feels to check that box off. Even if it's just something little, like, and it's completely unrelated. Like, all right, I got up and took my walk today or whatever it may be. It feels so good to check that off your list.
It really does.
Try a smaller list.
That's what I'm gonna have to do. I'm gonna have to make my list smaller because I swear I'm like, oh my God, this list is it's blinding. But it's so funny because when I was getting ready to speak at PodFest, and for those of you who have not gone to PodFest, you still have time to go. I think it ends on Saturday. It's some amazing people over there. I met some since I spoke, but then there are just some amazing. They have like these virtual meetups that are going on. Like all these. Oh my God, it's amazing. And I've been to some conferences that were going on, and I went to some meetups that were going on. I met this one woman. She is super duper amazing. She's about to go to Bali, right? And she was like, anybody who wants to come with me and stay with me, because she's working on a software company. You probably will love her too. She is her heritage is Indian, but she's born in America. But she's doing some amazing things. But she told me it's kind of like she's on the run because she's doing this, and I can't really talk about it. I can just say it's amazing. And her family is split up to protect her family, her husband and daughter, and she's going to Bali. And she was like, anybody who wants to come with me to Bali to work on this thing that I've been working on for 5 years, they can come. And I was like, oh my God, under normal circumstances, I would have been on a plane to Bali. She's like, I have a place to live already, all this stuff. And she just want people. It's kind of like going to Silicon Valley. But anyway, I met her on the at the PodFest Global Summit, which is all virtual. And it's still going on, and it's free because we're trying to break a world record to have the largest virtual conference in the world, and we're pretty close. I think we're like 4,400, and to break the goal is like 5,000 attendees. So I think we're pretty close. And that was yesterday, that number. So anyway, if you listen to the show and you want to check out PodFest, go to podfestexpo.online, and you can still register, and it's free. And I'm talking about amazing information, amazing people. Just some great stuff. And I didn't mean to digress, but I just had to throw that out there real quick.
No, that's what it's all about. See those connections right there. I love that.
And you know what else is cool about that, Caylin? There are so many podcasters over there, and they're always looking for great guests. Always. So if you're
And what was the website?
It's podfestexpo.online. Podfestexpo.online. It's so many podcasters, like thousands, and they're always looking for great guests. And you would be a great guest for them. Yeah. Now you're a very creative person, and you sound like me so much. Like I'm a geek. Like that's why I was talking about Alexa and AI, and and people were like, "Oh my God, that was amazing." I'm like, "Great." I got emails, and it was so funny. One young lady, she was in the workshop that I did. She went on LinkedIn and she says to me, "Hi, Audrey, I just left your workshop. I've been following you for years." And this is what you say to me. I've been following you for years, and I finally got up the nerve to connect with you. And I started to laugh, and I'm like, really? Somebody?
What an honor.
Right. I felt so honored. I was like, somebody is afraid to connect with me. It was hilarious. But again, she said she's been following me for years, but she took that workshop and she was able to connect with me. So I'm a geek like you. So I love all that techie stuff. I got about 20 microphones. It's crazy. I got 5 laptops, iPad, 2 iPads. I'm a geek. Anyway, because I'm a geek and I love ideas and they come to me all the time, it's like, okay, I need to not say yes to everything, which I've learned to do that. Mm-hmm. But how do you, because I know you're creative, how do you say no to stuff? Because I've struggled with, that is probably my biggest struggle in the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it is mine. I don't know if I have said no to anything yet. I think you kind of have to have a qualifying factor for your own self-worth and your self-value. If it doesn't answer the 2 questions, does this benefit me? Does this benefit my brand, my business? And does this, maybe, affect my future in like a positive way? You kind of have to step outside of it a little bit and look ahead and say, okay, if I say yes to this, Is it going to sort of not allow me to reach my own goals? Like, will I not check my 5 things off my list if I say yes to this? And a lot of the times that you say no to things are your own self-care, like listening to your body when it needs to rest, or taking those 5 to 10 minute breaks. You have to say no to you or to yourself sometimes, because we do have this sort of hustler mentality where we're kind of like, go, go, go. I got to get more done. I have to care for this person. I've got to, do all this. You kind of put yourself last. And so you got to say no to other things in order that, so that you don't break down, because you'll crash and burn if you say yes to everything. And I lived my life saying yes to things for about 30 some years, and you hit the wall hard. So I think you got to ask yourself, is it going to hurt me? Is it going to help me? Is it going to benefit my brand? And I think if it's no to those things, it's no all around. And in the end, what's so funny, the more you do say no, the more you grow. I mean, you do grow from it, because you're like, I'm so proud of myself. I said no to that, and I moved through this, and now here I am. And if I would have said yes to that, I wouldn't be here. So it's sort of like that hindsight is 2020, but it's also, it's so hard. It is so hard to say no to things. You feel like you're letting them down, you're letting yourself down, and you want to be the appeaser. But at a certain point in yourself as a business owner, you need to say, okay, I've got to start thinking like one, and I've got to stand up and do what I need to do. But if you can sort of, be able to answer the questions about yourself, it'll all come around in the end. I think what did I hear or read, that for every time you say no, something will come back 3 times yes, or something like that.
That's
so
nice.
Take a beat, take a minute, understand that the no or the yes doesn't need to come right away. There's no deadline on answering. You can take a second and chill out. And I know it's easier said than done. I can't tell you how many times I've messed it up, but it still is something I'm learning. I'm a work in progress too. So,
what I think is funny, when I first started out being an entrepreneur, and this was 23 years ago, I've been an entrepreneur for a very long time. And I remember I called it my first real business. I started in 97. And it was like I had gotten kicked out of college. So here I am, the smart girl that gets kicked out of college. That's because no one told me. I was really good at math. And so my counselor getting out of high school told me I should go to be an accountant, right? But what he didn't know about me was that that's not my thing. Like, I'm a free spirit. I need to be doing things that was kind of creative, or things that were going to challenge me. And although I was good with numbers, they weren't very challenging to me. And so I go to college and I play around. I get kicked out. Here's the thing. I took sculpting because I felt like I needed a creative outlet, and I fell sculpting. Like, who fell sculpting? But anyway, when I came out of college, I started a company called Changing Directions, because I felt like when I went into college, no one told me how to balance a checkbook, and no one told me all the things I needed to do to be a grown-up. And so that was the first company I started. And I remember we used to get together and mastermind, because at that time we had all read Think and Grow Rich. It's like it was 6 of us, and we would get together on Sunday and mastermind. We had read Think and Grow Rich, so we had an office space, and the group would get there on Sunday. We'll bring snacks and we'll mastermind. Well, someone got sick because the air conditioner was out, and I was like, oh my God, we're going to get sued. So we closed the office. And then about 2 years later, I invented the first plus size fashion dolls, me and Georgette. Now, Caylin, when we were doing that is the only thing we focused on. And I have to take myself back there to that time, because I remember nothing else was important but getting that doll done. It had to come out of my head, because that's where it was, and I had to turn it into a product. That was all we focused on. Now, where it got murky for me was when I really discovered, oh my God, there's all these other things I can do now that I have pulled this doll out of my head and turned it into a physical product. That's where life began to get murky for me. So we ran that business for about 5 years. And then I realized I could invent so many other things, and I did. I started inventing and creating, and it has never stopped. And so, like you said, I have to give myself self-care all the time, because if not, I will crash and burn. Because I always tell people I'm not creative, but I am creative. I'm not artsy, but I'm very creative. And that's what makes me so valuable to my clients, because they can come to me and say two things and I give them a whole plan, just spit it out like I was breathing.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm that person. So I definitely, what you're saying is for other people. Listen, if you guys know that you're like us, you have to do what Caylin says, and you have to like take bite sizes and take self-care, because I have crashed and burned before, like to the point where I was sitting in my office one day and I couldn't sleep that night, and because I had all these ideas going in my head, and they were just going, they wouldn't stop. I couldn't turn it off. And then the next morning I woke up and I'm sitting in my office and I felt like somebody had shot me. My head was hurting so bad, and I had to just get up from the computer and say, just go lay down. Just do nothing and just lay down. That's what I had to do. And go ahead.
It's so funny, like, that's what people don't realize about creative people. They're always like, oh, you're so creative, and you can spin all these wonderful ideas and pieces of art. But with creativity comes a price, because you are so passionate. Like you said, look at you. You created businesses at such a young age. I mean, all of that passion filling out in you, and it's out there. It really kind of deflates you and drains you, because it's like you said, it's the pouring out of you, these ideas. You're so supercharged with it that when it's out there, and it's like, it's after you've created, like you said, you talked at a big conference, or you've created this masterpiece, or you just spent an idea with a client. It is incredibly draining, because you are so built up with that passion. And so that's the importance of balancing that self-care, is to like, okay, it's going to be a lower day today, and I'm okay with that. I know I struggle with downtime. Even when, someone tells me, just kick your feet up, get a good book or watch TV or something, I always feel like I have to be doing something. I have to nope, I got to, check this off my list. I got to do this. I got to get up. I got to go do that. And I have a real problem with downtime. And I don't know if anybody else is feeling that, but especially when you're at this sort of stay-at-home phase in your life, not being able to go and have this freedom to go do what you want when you want it is like a cage for a creative person. So you're either letting that go and finding ways to bottle up that creativity and sell it, or you are going insane. That's your two paths in 2020. So that's why it's so important to make sure you have that outlet, and when you can just sit down and say, okay, chill out and regroup, because the more that you have that downtime, the more you're charging for that creativity. So such a big deal. I didn't learn it till later in life, and I wish I had it in my 20s. I feel like I could have balanced a little bit more. I guess you sort of learn as you grow. But, I think with learning about little tiny ways to better both you and your business is such a learning process, like absorbing all of that. And even conversations like this, you probably have habits that you do that I need to absorb into my daily routine, and vice versa, right? You're out there grinding and doing an amazing thing for all these people and making these connections. I aspire to do that, So, I'm always learning. What is one thing that you do daily that helps you grow?
I journal.
Oh, nice.
I journal. I found that journaling has helped me so much. I burn sage when I get up in the morning. And it's so funny because my daughter says she knows I'm up when she smells the sage burning. So I burn sage and I journal. And that has helped me tremendously in a lot of areas of my life. Last week, my dog passed away last Thursday, a week today. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. She was old though. She was 16. She was with us for 16 years. And she was a tiny dog, and her life expectancy was 8. So she managed to stay with us for 16. But it was so heartbreaking because, I got off the show and I went to go let her out because that's what I normally do. And when I went to go let her out, she collapsed. And I was so, I have never felt such pain. I've lost people in my life that I loved.
Oh, yeah.
And it was painful. But I don't think I've ever felt that kind of pain before. And it was like, I couldn't control. And I'm telling you, like, day by day, I still have to, like, talk myself through sometimes, because there's little things that, you know, like, she would sleep, like, in my office. When I'm working in the office, she's in the corner sleeping. When it's time for us to go to lunch, she goes with me to lunch. Like, I go let her out. It's things like, it's like the little things. So journaling is something that I do daily. And I think her passing away made me realize how important, not that I didn't know how important the people were in my life. And like, sometimes the little things that annoy you about people, like the little things that would annoy me that she would do, are the things that I miss right this moment.
Yeah. What a heartbreaking thing. There's nothing quite like that.
Nothing like it. But journaling is one of the things that has helped me so much. And so the fact that I get to, you know, I always do the grateful part. And I got that from listening to, oh God, what is his name? Miracle Mornings. I can't think of his name, but he has a journal out called Miracle Mornings. And he was saying how I can't think of his name. But he almost died, and he said, you know, he started journaling. But what he did was he looked at all of the people who were successful and saw what they did, and they all had these rituals that they did. And so he created this thing called the Miracle Morning. Important. Yeah, and so for me, I'm not good with meditation. You know, I'm good at being quiet in the morning. Like, that's my quiet. Like, when I wake up, I'm very quiet, and it's quiet in the house.
It's hard.
Right, so it's hard to like say I can't do that. I just lay there and be quiet, like be still. I consider that my form of meditation, because then I can get things. I get clarity about stuff, and then I journal. So journaling I got a ton of them too. Like journaling had my thing for the last probably 3 years, and it has worked so much. So that's my sage burning and journaling. That's my routine. That's the thing I do every morning.
So when something knocks you down, like, you know, your dog dying, which is one of the hardest things I think ever in life, did you continue to journal, or did you drop it and then say, after 5 days of not journaling, say, wow, that really affected me not journaling, like I see the difference? Or did you continue straight through your grief journaling, and that helped you? Because I know when something happens to me, I lose my routine like a crazy person, and I'm like, well, there goes self-care out the window, because now I have to be sad. So that's my fault for not keeping up my self-care routine when something hits me hard. Did you continue your daily journaling to get you through that?
I did, and here's why. I'm like the rock in the family. So people lean on me all the time, and so for me to be vulnerable at that moment. And it was my daughter's dog. And it was so funny, because when my husband bought her the dog, I was fussing. I was like, why'd you buy her that dog? She's not going to take care of the dog. I'm going to wind up taking care of the dog, which is exactly what happened. Yep. I wind up taking care of the dog, and then she became my dog. So I called her my grand dog. Yeah. And what happened was I kept journaling, because I felt like I couldn't show people how hurt I was. So the only way for me to get past the pain was to journal. So I journaled like the first day she passed away last Thursday. I journaled twice. I journaled like when they told me how sick she was, and then I journaled that night, and then I kept journaling that, and I kept journaling. I think a couple of days I did it twice in a day, because I needed to. I didn't want to talk to people. I just wanted to get it out. Yep. And the more I journaled, the better I felt. The more I journaled, the better I felt. And I feel a lot better this week, but like last week it was horrible, and I never felt anything like that. And it was like hard to like even comprehend, like, oh my God, you know, like I know she was in our family, but that hurt so bad. But what it did was it made me realize that I had to love, like really love my family more than I've ever loved them before, even with all the things that sometimes get on my nerve, because it could be gone in an instant, and they won't be here anymore. So that has helped me tremendously, like the journaling, and I still journal, and I journaled more in those first couple of days after she passed away.
That is such good advice. We have a dog ourselves. She's 5. She's got a long life ahead of her, but sometimes I think about the day I'll have to deal. And I'm like you, where I will be devastated and I'll get knocked down. But I love what you just said, which was, it made me realize how much I have to live, love my family now, and really kind of live it, now, because you get so caught up in the little stupid things that you get, frustrated about so easily, especially now more than ever with all the negativity out there. I think it's like kind of grating at you every day. And I love what you said there. So that's going to be on my new bucket list of to-dos, is to just really try to appreciate them. Because just this morning, my dog irritated me, and I was like, oh, I'm getting mad at her. And I thought, geez, and now I hear this, and to bring me back to center, right?
Yeah, because it's just a little thing. It's like you would take the garbage out and say, okay, I'm gonna sit the garbage here for a minute before I take it outside. And if you set it down for a minute, she was definitely gonna go and rip the bag, definitely. And so I found myself sitting the garbage, and then kind of like, oh, she's not here. That kind of like every morning she would scratch at my door, and then I would let her out, and I would go on the deck and just sit there and wait till she came back. That's not every morning. Like, she would skip everybody's door and come straight to my door for me to come let her out, and I would go and let her out every morning and sit on the deck while she went out and did her business. This was our thing every morning. And so it's like those, and then some mornings I'd be like, oh my God, why don't you ever go to anybody else's door? And then the fact that she's not at my door anymore, like, I had to, all of that stuff made me just say, okay, there's a lot of people in my house. I take care of my mom, I take care of my uncle, then there's my daughter, my stepdaughter, my granddaughter, and my husband. And so, wow. Yeah, we have a house full. When we moved here, everybody kind of just came and nobody left the house. It was crazy. And it's okay because it's enough space for us all. But sometimes people just get on your nerve, like I hate the kitchen to be dirty. And then they'll go in there and they'll cook something and they won't wash the pot. And then I'm pissed. It's like, okay, I love them and I'm okay with that, because one day they may not be here to wash the pot.
Right.
And they may not be here for me to be mad. And it's hard.
It's happening, but yeah.
I mean, I got to tell you, it was so rough. I had to tell God, listen, you got to take me before you take my kids. Like, I know I wouldn't make it if something happened to my daughter or my granddaughter. And so I said, you got to take me first. Don't take them and leave me. You take me first. Right. And that's kind of selfish, but I just know I wouldn't make it. I would not.
No, and you have to change everything about your whole daily routine when trauma happens, and grief happens in your life. It's like all of the things that you normally start out to do so positively are different and change, like you're constantly reminded by those little things. Like, I think about, her tinkling of her collar as she comes, like, that kind of like those little things. So I think a lot of it is transition, and we fear change for some reason. I don't know why. We all do, even though it's good and we know it's happening every day. We're always so scared of change. But I think, if we could just accept a little bit of that every day. A part of this app that I use, and I definitely want to recommend it. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's called Shine. It is by far my most favorite app to start my day. It's little tiny snippets of whatever, self-care, advice, tips, things that are happening. I start my day. It's like a 6 or 7 minute listen, and you can kind of check in with your gratitude and things that you're grateful for. And
that's nice.
Like, those things make me realize that, we have to be okay with changing every day, not just big change, not like a big drastic change over the nation or something that's over like our community, but you got to be okay with like the change that happens inside every day too, which is like kind of a weird concept to think about, because you're thinking about getting up every day and doing the same thing. You're thinking about the future. You're thinking about what you got to do today. You're thinking about, how things are stable and stagnant. But if we can just say, okay, today's probably going to be different than yesterday. I have to create new habits. I've got to create new ways of starting this out. It might be easier to do, it might just be easier to like stop fighting the change, which is, I don't know about you, but it's really, really hard for me. Just to just say, okay, well, things are changing every minute. I'm kind of a schedule girl. I'm kind of a routine person. And so when things get thrown off my schedule, it messes me all up, and then I got to start all over again.
Yep. So, I'm the same way.
Trying to accept it.
I'm so used to doing things a certain way to when and it's so funny because people, they'll think that, okay, like right now, right? So when I get finished the show, I'm going to lunch, right? I guarantee you, no one has asked me what you're doing today. They just assume that I'm going to be doing something else. And so when I get ready to leave, I'm like, where are you going? I thought maybe you could do this, and they never ask me. But I love them. And I'm okay with it. I'm just going to tell them I'm going to lunch today. I'm going out this house to go to lunch. I want to get this. Listen, guys, I'm sorry we got so mushy, but, this is a part of my life. This is business. This is how, I didn't do any business last Thursday. Like, after I got off the show, I was going to lunch like I'm doing today. Because that's exactly what I did last week. But Friday, I did nothing because I was in mourning. And so this is just a part of life. And you got to, and here's the thing I say all the time, Caylin. The one thing about entrepreneurial life for me that I have been blessed for, I've been an entrepreneur for 23 years, 21 full time. But it has been those times where I needed to just not do anything, and I was free to do that. My mom had breast cancer twice.
That is okay.
Yeah.
That is okay.
But the freedom that it gives us, like, we work hard now. Don't get it twisted, y'all. Caylin tell you, we work hard. But the freedom that it gives us to make choices when we need to make choices. Like, when my mom had breast cancer twice, nobody would have given me that much time off. She had it back to back. And I remember going to radiation with her for 33 straight days in a row. Nobody would have given me that time off from my job, And so that is the life we live in, and I'm grateful for that life. It's rough sometimes, and it's a lot of work and a lot of sacrifices, but we do it because we love what we do. And so if you get nothing else from us, know that we do this because we love what we do. And I really can't see myself doing anything else. I tell them all the time, when they put me in the box, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. It's just who I am at the core of my being. But I want to ask you a couple more questions before we go, because I thought this was pretty cute. Why do they call you the marketing magician?
That's such a long time ago. I think because I spin a little bit of magic in each social post or blog post or ebook that I write. It's extremely colorful, full of positive energy. I think the magic is positive energy, because if I don't keep it out there, I feel like it'll swallow me whole. So a lot of that is just energy. That magic is just something that is a part of CBC Inked and has kind of evolved. The marketing part of it is the secret sauce. Because it's not easy to market. It's not easy to stand out in a world of sales. Even the word sales is awful. It's not easy to be sort of a diamond in the rough. So you got to put a little magic in it to really spin it. And I think part of the magic in the secret sauce is people and connections. So if you can keep your inner circle close, it can really, sort of build and grow, and it's pretty amazing. So it's like a magic trick.
It's like a magic trick. All right, y'all. So listen, I can tell you right now, it's a lot of stuff that I didn't get to, but here's the thing. I got a text message from someone who podcasts, and they say, I want to have her on my show. So you're going to get another, you're going to get another email to be on someone else's show because they heard you on this show. And they love what you do. So if you didn't get a chance to, if we didn't get a chance to cover some stuff on my show, I'm sure she's going to go deeper into affirmation, because I missed that part, and we are out of time. It's like a minute, and I didn't even get a chance to talk about affirmations and why they're good. However, she's going to be a guest on another show, which is called a Dynamic Life Show, because she's going to get that email saying, hey, I want you on my show because I got the text message about that.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. So go to dynamiclife.com to find out, to enroll in their newsletter, so you'll find out when Caylin's going to be in this show, because I'm sure that show is going to take her more into affirmations and how you can really use those. But I do have one last question, because I love your artwork. So if someone wanted to get a custom piece for you, how does that work?
Sure. Yeah. You can find me at cbcinked.com. My custom art is there. You can pick a piece out, art formation, or I am happy to take commissioned pieces. You can reach me on the contact page. There's also a new Marketing in the Box course coming out soon to help you in small bite-sized pieces. So be on the lookout for that. I've got a blog and a newsletter and all that good stuff. And across social, I am at CBC Inked. So find me and connect with me. So thank you.
You're very welcome. So listen, thank you so much for being my guest. I'm going to definitely connect with you offline, because there's some things that I want personally. And Okay, so seriously.
Yeah, I need to send you some.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, and we got to talk about some other stuff too that I think you'll be great at with the company. So I will reach out to you after this week, and you're going to probably get an email pretty shortly for another interview. So thank you again for being my guest. I really appreciate you, and thank you so much.
I appreciate you too. Keep going, girl.
All right, thanks. All right, guys, that's all I got for today. I'm going to go to my last song. I'll be right back after the song to give you my daily inspiration. So you can, you notice today is my Friday. Today is Thursday. Today is my Friday. I know it's your Thursday, but it's my Friday. So I will be back after this.
I wanna get you all alone now and go hide away from the lights, but I don't dare to, I'm too fragile, and for that I do apologize. Maybe someday we can work it out, but I'm afraid it's too late to try. Baby, I don't dare to love you, and you know the reason why. Don't you know I'm way too weak to swim? Can't you feel the waves come crashing in? Running out of safety nets, 'cause every night I fall down in the middle of the night screaming, oh my God, 'cause your love's too deep. You know your love's too deep. I reach out in the middle of the night screaming, oh my, 'cause your love's too deep. You know your love's too deep. I think I'm love drunk and it feels wrong, but I'm not afraid to admit I used to feel safe next to you, babe. Now I'm thinking I deserve a hit. Maybe someday we could work it out, but I'm afraid it's too late to try. Baby, I don't dare to love you,